In every baseball season, there are games that you should win and you end up losing. There's games that you should lose and you end up winning. Sunday's game looked like it was going to be the former. It probably ended up being the latter. And it was a lot of fun, a lot to talk about with this weekend. The Dodgers mostly held their ground. Shohei Ohtani cooled off a tiny, tiny bit, and so much more to talk about. Let's get live on Locked On Dodgers.
You are Locked On Dodgers, your daily Los Angeles Dodgers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, Dodger fans, this is Locked On Dodgers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks to our everydayers for making Locked On Dodgers your first listen every weekday morning. And thanks to those of you who are with me live here on Sunday evening. Remember, this show is free and available on all podcast platforms and on YouTube simply by searching for Locked On Dodgers. So please subscribe wherever you're watching or listening right now. If this is your first time with us, my name is Jeff Snyder. My normal co-host is Vince Samperio, although it's just me tonight. Vince and I are both lifelong Dodger fans, just like a lot of you. We've also both spent time covering the Dodgers in the press box and the locker room. So we bring you the smart fans perspective on our boys in blue every weekday morning. This episode is brought to you by Booking.com. Booking.com? Booking.yeah. The right stay can make you a fan of any city, even your baseball rivals. Book today on Booking.com, the official accommodation partner of Major League Baseball. Get the Booking.com app today. And with that said, let's get started. The Dodgers, we came into this weekend knowing the Padres got to play the White Sox. And Dodgers came into this weekend with the 4-game lead over the Padres, kind of knowing that you never know what's going to happen. Bad teams beat good teams sometimes, but the White Sox don't really beat anybody this year. And so we kind of came in expecting the Padres to sweep the White Sox. And we were hoping the Dodgers could sweep the Rockies. It ended up not happening. It was the Dodgers won the series. They didn't sweep the series. And so the division lead is down to 3 games. We're going to dig in the third segment all about the standings and what it all means and what these next 6 games are going to look like. But the good news is the Dodgers won the series because it looked like they might not do that on Sunday. Most of the day, it looked like the Dodgers were going to lose the series to the last place Colorado Rockies. They lost on Saturday and looked like they were going to lose on Sunday. Luckily, they didn't. We're going to dig into a lot of the reasons why in the second segment, but one of the big reasons why they didn't was a young man by the name of Shohei Ohtani. Shohei Ohtani, last time we talked, he had just gone 6 for 6 with 2 doubles, 3 homers, 3 stolen bases to get to 50-50. He did that Thursday night. That was our last episode. We talked a lot of Shohei Ohtani, and then Ohtani said, you know what, it's not fair to expect me to go 6 for 6 every game. And he's absolutely right. This weekend, Ohtani cooled way off. Only went 8 for 12 this weekend. Only had 2 homers in 3 games. Only stole, 4 bases in the 3 games. Just kind of your typical best player in baseball kind of weekend instead of best player in baseball history kind of weekend. The Shohei Ohtani is ridiculous. His batting average is back up over 300. He's up to 301 right now. His OPS is 1023. He just everything about this weekend, it was like, okay, how's anybody ever going to get this guy out? And obviously they got him out 4 times in 3 games. So congratulations to the Rockies, I guess. Kyle Freeland even struck him out once. It was a ridiculous series by Ohtani following up. It seems like, and I'm sure this isn't the case, it seems like Shohei Ohtani heard people talking about Francisco Lindor and said, okay, this is silly. Let's just remove any question. And that's what he did. If there was any question in your mind before, there isn't now. There's you can make all the excuses you want about, well, but he doesn't even have to play the field. He's just relaxing until his next at bat. Guess what? 29 other teams have a DH. And guess how many of them are having a season like Ohtani's? 0. Guess how many guys who play first base, one of the easiest positions on the field, having a season anywhere close to Ohtani? None of them. It's just like Ohtani is far and away the best player in the National League this year. And that is what determines the MVP. Who's the best player? It's Shohei Ohtani. And if you want to get into value, if you want to pretend that value means something other than how well did he play baseball, which, to be clear, it does not. The most valuable player is the one who played baseball the best. Anything else, you are searching for reasons to support the guy you like or to go against the guy you don't like. It comes down to who played baseball the best. And but if you did want to pretend there's some value, like, Francisco Lindor put the Mets on his back and carried them to the playoffs. The Mets are battling the Braves for that last spot in the postseason. Guess what? Against the Braves this year, look up the stats. Who did better against the Braves this year? Francisco Lindor or Shohei Ohtani? Shohei Ohtani has done more for the Mets playoff chances than Francisco Lindor has. It's just, but again, MVP is the best player in the league. Who played baseball the best? There is no question that the guy who played baseball the best in the National League this year is Shohei Ohtani. There's question about the major leagues. And for some reason, people want to have that conversation. I was on the Locked On Sports Today podcast a couple weeks ago, and I said, it's awesome that Ohtani and Aaron Judge are not in the same league anymore, because now we don't have to have that conversation. Look, you can both have an MVP. In the past several years, they've had to battle. Ohtani had historic seasons. Judge had to hit 62 home runs to beat out Ohtani for MVP. Back and forth, back and forth. Guess what? We don't have to do that anymore. They're in different leagues. They give an MVP for each league. So I don't understand the obsession with wanting to decide who had a better season, Ohtani or Judge. The fact is, it's probably Judge, because when, the reason the defense doesn't matter on the Lindor argument is because Ohtani has been so much better offensively than Lindor. But Judge has been right up there with Ohtani, better in some ways, worse in some ways, and playing defense. Maybe not Gold Glove defense, but you get a little bit of a boost for playing defense. And in the end, it doesn't matter because they give an MVP in each league. Shohei Ohtani is going to be the unanimous winner of the American League MVP or National League MVP award. He's done the American League MVP award twice. So he's going to win the National League MVP. He's going to become, is he the first? I hadn't even thought about it. I'm sure people have been thinking about it. It just slipped my mind. Has anybody won the MVP in both leagues since Frank Robinson? Or is he still the only one? If anybody knows the answer to that, shoot it in the chat, because I know Frank Robinson did it with the Reds and the Orioles back in the 60s. And I can't think of anybody who's done it. But of course, I also recently forgot that Mike Trout won MVP awards. So, that doesn't. Okay, Tyler says that Frank Robinson's still the only one. That hadn't even crossed my mind, but now it has. Shohei Ohtani, another way he's going to set history this year. He is going to. Oh, John Smith says there are two that won in both the AL and the NL. Craig says it's just Frank Robinson. All right, John, I'm going to need your sources. Roy, Tyler, and Craig all say that Frank Robinson's the only one. So, John, if there's somebody else who has done it, let me know who that would be, because I can't think of who it would have been. So that could be another way that Shohei Ohtani makes history this year. First 50-50 guy. He's now at, 53, 55? Kind of ridiculous. Seems like 55-55 has a good chance of happening. 3 games in Coors, who knows? Maybe 60-60 is still on the table. But, we're not going to get greedy there. Shohei Ohtani is remarkable, and it is so much fun to watch. And I hope you guys are enjoying watching it as much as I am, because it's just, this doesn't come around all the time. It's not even going to be this way for Ohtani all the time. It's impossible for even the best player in baseball to be this hot forever. I hope he can stay this hot for another, 5-6 weeks, get us through October. But it sure is fun watching right now. And it is, I always knew I was going to love watching Shohei Ohtani play in Dodger Blue. But I think I undersold myself because, I don't think I could have imagined that it would be this much more fun. As Sal says in the chat, thanks for being here. If you're watching this, hit the like button, subscribe if you're new. Appreciate the shout out, Sal. I'm going to come back in a minute. I'm going to talk about specifically how Shohei Ohtani helped the Dodgers win this game on Sunday because it was a big one. So thank you for making Locked On Dodgers your first listen every weekday morning. And please keep it Locked On Dodgers. This episode is brought to you by Booking.com, Booking.yeah. The postseason's coming up, and if you're thinking about following your favorite team across the country this October, it might be time to explore those U.S. cities you always secretly wanted to learn more about. Yes, we're talking about other team cities. With hotels, bed and breakfast, vacation rentals, resorts, and so much more on Booking.com, you might just find your perfect stay even in a rival team's city. If a city has a big league team, it also has great places to stay. I have booked great hotels in almost every MLB city in America, and Booking.com makes that so much easier. From hotels to overlook stadiums to family-friendly resorts, Booking.com has so many choices across the U.S. for your October travel this MLB postseason. The right stay can make you a fan of any U.S. city, even your rivals. Book today on Booking.com or on the site or in the Booking.com app. Booking.com, Booking.yeah. This episode is also brought to you by FanDuel. Hey, NFL fans, you can start the season with a big return on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. When you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. And you'll get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. Hear that? It says place, not win. All you got to do is place a $5 bet, and you get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. I was looking at Monday Night Football. If you got a hunch that the Washington Commanders are going to beat the Cincinnati Bengals, upset them, that one is a big, the Commanders are plus 290 underdogs. Put your $5 bet on that, and boom, you can make yourself $15-20 if they win it, and your $200 in bonus bets guaranteed just for placing your $5 bet. So go to FanDuel.com to get those bonuses. That's FanDuel.com. Hey, this is, I'm back. Thank you. I just realized I forgot to switch to the FanDuel overlay while I was reading the FanDuel. So I'm just going to put it up here for a little bit while I'm talking and telling you all about, you can become an everydayer by watching and listening every weekday morning. You can make that easier on yourself by subscribing wherever you're watching or listening right now. Remember, you can go beyond the podcast to become a Locked On Dodgers insider by going to joinsubtext.com/LockedOnDodgers. You can check out Locked On MLB for your second listen today, hosted by our buddy Sully. He's a really good show on all of Major League Baseball. Probably talks a lot about Shohei Ohtani there too. You can also check out Locked On Sports Today and Locked On Sports Los Angeles, the two 24/7 streaming channels on YouTube from the Locked On Podcast Network. Locked On Sports LA is where you can find the Locked On Dodgers postcast after most Dodger games, hosted by Pete Fox. More of a recap show than this, so check that out. Remember, you can catch every pitch of every Dodger game on SiriusXM or the SXM app just by searching for Dodgers. And with that said, this game, like I said, on Sunday, the Dodgers, it didn't look good for the Dodgers. Yoshinobu Yamamoto gave up 4 runs, including 3 in the first inning. The offense got guys on and couldn't do anything about it. Double plays in each of the first three innings. And that's what I said in the intro. For a lot of this game, it looked like a game that the Dodgers should have won, that they were going to lose. They had so many base runners and just little things like Freddie Freeman. He comes up with bases loaded and 1 out and hits into an inning double play. And this was when it was 4-0. And if you imagine if, I think it was 4-0, it might have been 3-0 at that point. Anyway, if the Freeman's next 2 times up, actually, he got a base hit. Imagine if he gets his little blooper over the shortstop's head, that time with the bases loaded, because what happened leading off the next inning? Teoscar Hernandez hit a home run. If Freeman's bloop single comes there with bases loaded, then Teos is a 3-run homer, and suddenly the Dodgers are up 5-4. Like that. That's why I talk a lot about cluster luck on this show, how you can do everything right, just not at the right time, and things don't work out for you. And obviously hitting into a double play is never a good thing, but Freddie Freeman ended up with 2 big hits in this game. And if he had gotten one of them with the bases loaded, it would have been a different game. A lot of things like that. Tommy Edman might have been safe at first on his double play. The Dodgers didn't challenge. Don't know if they won the challenge, if they would have won the challenge, but who knows what happens if he's called safe. So many little things, but what it looked like was that the Dodgers were going to lose a game to a bad Rockies team. And at the same time, we are all watching the scoreboard, found out later the Dodgers were also watching the scoreboard. Mookie said he didn't mean to, but he accidentally caught a peek at the scoreboard and saw that the White Sox, of course, were unable to hold a lead against the Padres in the bottom of the 8th inning. The the Padres were down 2-1, and they scored 3 runs and ended up winning 4-2. So the Dodgers knew that the Padres had won their game, but the Dodgers nibbled back. Like I said, Teoscar hit a home run to make it 4-1. Then it's 5-1 Rockies. Kike Hernandez hits a 2-run homer to make it 5-3. Freddie Freeman drives in a run, make it 5-4. And that's where it stood until the 9th inning. And the Dodgers battle did a good job to at least get to the point where they got the MV3, you want to call them, leading off the 9th inning. And you're like, okay, down by 1 run with Ohtani, Betts, and Freeman and Teoscar coming up, you have to like your chances of – you can't ask for much more than that. If you're going to be trailing, well, at least it's only 1 run, and you've got your best players coming up. And it worked out immediately. Shohei Ohtani hit a solo home run to tie the game, and then 3-4 pitches later, Mookie Betts hit a solo home run to end the game on a 101-mile-an-hour fastball up and in that I have no idea how Mookie hit it out, but man, I hope that's a good sign for what Mookie can do, because that one was ridiculous. Ohtani's was great. Steven Nelson's call of it was great. Ohtani is inevitable. Everything about it was awesome. It was storybook, and it was a game that they really, really needed. Sorry, guys. I got to take more drinks when I'm doing solo because I don't have somebody here to talk for me. This was a game that they needed because, like I said, the Padres already won. If the Dodgers lose this game, then they go into the series with the Padres only up by 2 games. Still, you'd rather be the team up by 2 games than down by 2 games. But guess what? You'd rather be the team up by 3 games than the team up by 2 games. Hashtag math, baby. And for Ohtani and Betts to come through in that situation, yes, it's a rookie pitcher, but it's also a rookie pitcher who throws 101 and has never allowed a run in his career. And so, it's you can only face the guy on the mound. That guy, the Dodgers got the job done. Ohtani and Betts got the job done against a tough pitcher. And it was a huge momentum swing. Like, I think for us as fans, and I'd be interested to see in the chat if you guys felt the same way. Like, this loss, if the Dodgers had lost this game to the Rockies on Sunday, it would have been a huge gut punch. I'm not worried about Yamamoto. His command was uncharacteristically off. He got 2 strikes. He couldn't put guys away. He walked more than he usually does. He wasn't landing his changeup. It was just kind of an uncharacteristically bad day for Yamamoto. Obviously, I wish it hadn't happened, but if I had to choose, would you rather have it happen on September 22nd or October 15th? I'll take September 22nd. Obviously, it's not actually that cut and dry, but I'm not overly concerned about Yamamoto. I am concerned, or at least aware of the standings. And if the Dodgers lost this game, it would have felt like a huge momentum shift in favor of the Padres. In the end, it is a huge momentum shift, I think, for the Dodgers, because not only did the Dodgers not lose ground on the Padres today, Dodgers go into this series with the Padres up by 3 games. And like I said, in the next segment, I'm going to talk all about the standings, about what things could look like. There is so much, just the feeling of winning that game, of getting big hit after big hit after big hit to win a game when the Dodgers didn't quite have it. It was remarkable. Ben Kasparius pitched 3 innings and gave up 1 run, looked really, really good. Other than that, he was, Dave Roberts called him out after the game, said, other than Shohei Ohtani, Ben Kasparius is the player of the game. Huge for him. 5 strikeouts in 3 innings. Once he kind of settled in, his first couple of batters, it seemed like he was nibbling, and then he got more confident in his stuff, seemed like, and got the job done. Kike Hernandez was another guy that Dave Roberts called out. He had a base hit. He had the 2-run homer. He played good defense. And this was a game that Kike wasn't supposed to play. Max Muncy was in the starting lineup and then was scratched because his side is sore from a diving attempt the day before. Kike found out just less than an hour before the game that he was even playing, and he comes up with one of the biggest hits of the day for the Dodgers. Just player after player, contribution after contribution, everybody on the team in this game contributed. Like, you look at, I'm just looking, I guess Tommy Edman didn't contribute. He was 0 for 4, didn't get on base. I think he's the only, everybody else on the team had either a hit or a walk or both. Everybody was on base except Tommy Edman. It was a full team effort. And Edmund has been really good this year. I'm not worried about Edmund. It's an off day. Okay. All in all, this is a game that you feel really good about winning, even though it's the Rockies, because they needed to win. And like I'm going to talk about when I come back in a minute, I'm going to talk about what the pennant race looks like, what the standings look like. We'll dig into roster thoughts a little bit, see some comments about the playoff roster. We'll talk about that a little bit. So much to talk about still. Thank you for being with me. Thanks for making Locked On Dodgers your first listen. And please keep it Locked On Dodgers. This episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. Prize Picks is America's #1 fantasy sports app with more than 5 million active members. It's the easiest and most exciting way to get in on the action while you watch your favorite sports and players. You just pick more or less on 2 or more player stats and watch the winnings roll in. Get in on the excitement and win up to 100 times your money watching your favorite sports with Prize Picks. You can turn $10 into $1,000 while watching sports. You can make a Prize Picks lineup of players across all different sports in as little as 60 seconds. Just pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections, and you're locked in. Sign up today and get $50 instantly when you play $5, even if you don't win. And we're coming up on the end of this. 4 weeks of free W's because 1 passing yard from Caleb Williams gets you 1 win on Prize Picks every week in September. Prize Picks is available in more than 30 states across the country, including California, Texas, and Georgia. So download the Prize Picks app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB to get $50 instantly when you play $5. That's code LOCKEDONMLB on Prize Picks to get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks, run your game. I am back. Thank you for making Locked On Dodgers your first listen every weekday morning. Thanks for being here with me live. Big group here tonight. I really appreciate that. I know we're all fired up as Dodger fans after this game. And, I tried to time this so that it wouldn't overlap with too many other. I believe there's room for all these Dodger podcasts. You know what? I think we all love our team. And if I can make it easier for you to watch or listen to us while also watching or listening to others, great. More Dodger talk. It's awesome. So thank you for being here with me. I really appreciate that. I'm just scanning through the chat really quick, see if anything just needs to. David MM. You guys, we just swept the White Sox parade is still going down in San Diego. That's a joke. They're not actually having a parade for this, but we wouldn't put it past them. So let's talk about the standings, okay? I've got the standings pulled up right here, right now. The Dodgers, as I mentioned, they are currently 3 games ahead of the Padres in the National League West. Just pulling it over to this screen so I can see it while also looking like I'm looking somewhat at the camera. Mike really wants me to talk about Jeff Hamilton. I'll tell you about Jeff Hamilton, Mike. Jeff Hamilton was number 33, and then when Steve Sachs went to the Yankees, Jeff Hamilton switched to number 3. So he was, my brother, Steve Sachs was my brother's favorite player, and he always wore number 3 because of Steve Sachs. And so I sometimes joke with him that he wears number 3 because of Jeff Hamilton. That's all the Jeff Hamilton talk I got for you, Mike. Sorry. Tell Jackson I said hi. Dodgers are 3 games up on the Padres. As you know, Dodgers start a 3-game series with the Padres on Tuesday. They have Monday off, which will be nice. Maybe more important, not more importantly, at least as important, if the Dodgers win the National League West, the next thing is the Dodgers need to have the first round bye. And that is almost locked up. The Dodgers are currently 4 games ahead of the Brewers for that for the number 2 seed. Dodgers are actually the number 1 seed right now. They're a game ahead of the Phillies. I'm not as worried about that. I actually don't even know who the Phillies play the rest of their season, I know the Dodgers have some tough games coming up, but let's see who the Phillies play, shall we? They've got the Cubs and the Nationals. I would guess the Phillies probably will end up with the 1 seed because the Phillies are the tiebreaker with the Dodgers, so they just need to end up tied. I think if you were to look at the brackets, I don't think I'm not going to say I'd rather have the 2 seed because I don't believe in choosing things like that. But let's just say the 2 seed doesn't seem worse than the 1 seed. Having the bye is what's important. So the Dodgers, like I said, 4 games ahead of the Brewers and having the tiebreaker. It's hard to picture the Dodgers winning the division and not having the 2 seed because it would not winning the division would be an epic collapse. If they win the division, they're not going to have that epic collapse, which is what it would take also to – they're farther ahead of the Brewers than they are the Padres is what I'm getting at. So if the Dodgers can hold out the Padres, the Dodgers are going to have either the 1 or the 2 seed, which means they don't have to play in the wild card round. That is a big deal with the way the Dodgers bullpen has been worked, with the way the Dodgers are – their starting pitching is. They need every day off they can get. They need every skipped round they can get, and they need the offense to show up and win some series quickly to give guys rest. So really all that's left to talk about is the National League West. I'm going to say something controversial here. I don't want anybody to get mad at me. Let me make it clear. I'm not saying I want the Dodgers to get swept by the Padres. I'm saying this. I am so confident the Dodgers are winning the National League West. Even if the Dodgers got swept by the Padres, I still think the Dodgers will win the National League West. Because if the Dodgers were to get swept, the 2 teams would be tied. Then the Dodgers have 3 against the Rockies. The Padres have 3 against the D-backs. The Dodgers would be playing a team in the Rockies that all they have to play for is being a spoiler. The Padres would be playing a team in the D-backs that is actually fighting for their postseason life too, fighting for seeding, fighting for all those things. And the D-backs are better than the Rockies. So I don't think the Dodgers will get swept by the Padres. I really don't. I honestly, my honest belief is I expect the Dodgers to win this series against the Padres. That I think where the Dodgers are right now, how they're playing, the fact that they are the better team, I expect the Dodgers to win 2 out of 3 from the Padres. Even if they win 1 out of 3, that almost locks up the division. Because like I said, Padres have to play the D-backs. Dodgers get to play the Rockies again. If the Dodgers win 1 out of 3, they go into the final series up by 2 games. So let's say the Dodgers win 1 out of 3 from the Padres. And then let's say the Padres win 2 out of 3 from the D-backs. And let's say the Rockies win 2 out of 3 from the Dodgers. Guess what? Dodgers win the division. Magic number is 4. If the Dodgers win 1 game against the Padres, that magic number is down to 2. If they win 2 games, clinch. It's over. If they win 1 game, magic number is down to 2. That means if the Dodgers win 2 out of 3 from the Rockies again, boom. Doesn't matter what the Padres did. If the Dodgers win 1 out of 3, as long as the D-backs can win 1 game. Like it is, the Dodgers are going to win the division. And I've been saying this for months. And yes, they've made it a little bit closer than we would have liked. But this is why I've always said, this is why you would always rather be the team 3 games up than 3 games down, or 4.5 games up than 4.5 games down. All this time, the last month and a half, when people have been talking, oh, the Padres are sneaking up. The Padres are sneaking up. Yes, but they're still behind. It is so much harder to catch up than to stay ahead. The Dodgers have done enough so far to stay up by 3 games. 3 games is big. You look at, it would take an epic collapse for the Dodgers to not win the National League West. It's not going to happen. That's my bold prediction. Bold prediction, the team with the 3-game lead with 6 games to play is going to win the division. Film at 11. Shocker. And then they will have a first-round bye. They'll be either the 1 or the 2 seed. If they are the 1 seed, who knows? Because the only thing we really think we're pretty sure about is that the Padres will be the top-seeded wildcard team, which makes them the 4 seed. So they would have home field advantage against either. Right now it would be either the D-backs or the Mets. I'm not sure who has the tiebreaker between those 2 teams. They are currently tied for the 2nd and 3rd wildcard spots with the Braves 2 games behind. The Braves still have a chance to get back in it at the expense of either the Mets or the D-backs. We'll see what happens there. The reason I think that a lot of people say they would rather have the 2 seed than the 1 seed is because the 1 seed will be playing the winner of that Padres series. And so I think a lot of people are assuming the Padres are going to win that series. And then, is that right? Yeah. So the 1 seed would play the winner of that series, whereas the 2 seed would play the winner of the Brewers against whoever the bottom seeded wild card team is. So I think when people say they'd rather be the 2 seed than the 1 seed, what they're saying is we don't want to play the Padres in the postseason. I get that. I've said before, if I had a crystal ball and I knew the Dodgers were going to win, give me the Padres or the D-backs. Absolutely. I would rather beat one of those 2 teams, the 2 teams that have knocked the Dodgers out the last 2 years. I'd rather beat them. There is no crystal ball. I understand that for a lot of people, it might hurt more to lose to the Padres or lose to the D-backs again than to lose to somebody else. For me, if the Dodgers lose, I'm going to be sad no matter who it is they lose to. And, the conditions of how they lose is always going to play a part. But I don't really care who the Dodgers play in the postseason. The Dodgers, if the Dodgers offense shows up, if the pitching does enough, Dodgers have what it takes to win the whole thing. They're going to have to play good teams along the way. And I don't really care too much what order they do it. Obviously, if they are going to lose, I'd rather have it be in the World Series. And if not that, then the NLCS. I don't want them to lose in the first round again. But in the end, bring it on. Whoever they play, go beat them. And hopefully we can get that done. Ernie says, as a Raiders fan, I needed Jeff's optimism today. Vince, the reason that he's not with me tonight is because he went to Vegas for this Raiders game. I understand that may be a trip that he is regretting. So I feel sad for you Raiders fans. I personally don't care about football, and I am thankful for that almost every football season. I did watch BYU play on Saturday night because that's my alma mater, and I heard they were pounding Kansas State, and I wanted to be able to have conversations with what everybody else was talking about at church today. So I watched the game. But other than that, I don't really care about football. But I do care about baseball. Day off on Monday, and then a 3-game series with the Padres. We'll get her done. It'll be fun. We will be here with you to talk all about it. And yes, there will be optimism because that's what I do. You can call it blind optimism, but guess what? The Dodgers back me up a lot of the time. Not always in October, sometimes in October, though. And you know what? They're a good team, and we love our Dodgers. I always say I don't love the Dodgers because they win. I want them to win because I love them. And I will continue to love them no matter what happens. And I will continue to talk about them here on Locked On Dodgers with you. Thank you for being here live with me. That's going to do it for me for tonight. We didn't get to any roster thoughts, but luckily, like I said, day off tomorrow. So we will have a day off episode where we will talk about postseason roster thoughts, a bunch of that stuff. Vince will be back with me. So thanks again for making Locked On Dodgers your first listen. Thanks for being an everydayer if you are one. If you're not an everydayer, it's easy to become one. Just watch or listen every weekday morning. Make that easier on yourself by subscribing wherever you're watching or listening right now. Remember, you can go beyond the podcast and become a Locked On Dodgers insider by going to joinsubtext.com/Locked On Dodgers. Text directly with us. Get our thoughts on things before the podcast. It's just a few bucks a month with a free 14-day trial. You can check out Locked On Sports Today and Locked On Sports Los Angeles, the 2 24/7 streaming channels on YouTube from the Locked On Podcast Network. Locked On Sports LA has the Locked On Dodgers postcast hosted by Pete Fox after most Dodger games. You can follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at Locked On Dodgers. Vince is on Twitter at VinceSince91. I'm on Twitter at Snydog. Both of our DMs are open there. You can also email us, lockedondodgers@gmail.com. Or send us a voicemail or a text message to 323-863-LOCK-5625. We are here every weekday morning, and we hope you'll be here with us. When you get in your car or sit on your couch, tell your smart device to play podcast Locked On Dodgers. And remember, you don't have to agree. You just have to listen. We'll talk to you tomorrow.